Yeah, it was you having a laugh. It was just one of those things, just one of those he said, she said bullshit.
You're taking the piss, mate.
All right. Well, we're recording.
Let's record. Gosh darn it. Yeah. Yeah. Cinco.
Well,
It's Cinco.
I think it's Cinco. Yeah. Okay. So this is Cinco of Bits and Chunks.
That's right. 5 bits, 5 chunks.
And if you guys
Took
had
out
seen
a chunk of flesh. Look at that.
Oh, Jesus. Is that from your kitchen accident?
Yeah. I was making steak and nearly chopped my goddamn finger off, yo.
Wow. You're actually making steak.
Yeah, I was making steak. I didn't cook. It was one of those things where I was clenching my hand thinking I'm just going to power through this. And just because I had friends over, I was like, I don't want to ruin the evening with a trip to urgent care. And I was like, yeah, I think it's getting better. Just open my hand, just buckets of blood into this thing.
So like, just your face just drains of all color. Hey, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. But that's what I thought. That's what I thought when I grabbed my hand on the trimmer, the hedge trimmer, when it caught my big chunk of flesh, and I was like, oh, it just got the glove, cool. And I pulled my glove off, and it was just like, I was like, oh.
I should laugh. I mean, I'm laughing because it all came out okay, but it's like, I mean, hands are important to everybody, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I mean, there's none of us that are like, I'm kind of gotten lazy with the lefty. The right one's a keeper. But yeah, I mean, for artists, it's like, man, this is really gonna
hamper some things for sure. Well, I hope it's healing well. Did you have to get stitches?
Oh yeah, 7
stitches. Shit. I wish I'd went into like urgent care like right after I did mine, because I knew I would have had stitches, but it had to just heal on its own. And it's now kind of got the scarring on it that kind of feels weird. So it's not normal. Oh well.
It was one of those things because it's like I had the distinct thought right before. It was this typical dumb thing where like I was trying to vent the potato that I was cooking. It was an extra big one, and it was like pulling the sword from the stone. It was a big butcher knife, and I had the thought, don't cut yourself. Cut myself. It was like that in that succession. And it was one of those things where it's like, as soon as it bit into my fingers, I was like, that's going to be bad. Like it's going to be tolerable on 1 and 3, but that 2 is going to be a problem.
Oh no, man.
And when I looked at it, it was just, I flayed it. It was like it was like, it'll be okay. And I look and it's just sagging. Like,
was that like one of those just sharp cuts that you don't really notice the pain, that it's just,
like I could tell it was bad though. I didn't know how bad until I like looked at it. It could have been a lot worse, but it was, it sucked. Sure. What can you do?
Well, I guess you can have it sewn up with 7 stitches.
Yeah, I know you can. I was at urgent care getting stitches, like texting with one hand, instructing Carrie on how to make the steaks. Like, get them seasoned.
I'll be back in about an hour.
I'm going to need this red meat. And real helpful tip. If you bled out like a good cup full of blood into the sink, going home and then drinking like a lot of red wine is really, really stupid.
You feel a little woozy over there?
Oh, yeah. It's like,
yeah.
I put on Tucker and Dale for my friends and was like, nice. you guys finish this because your boy Clay is down for the count.
I'm sure they understood, though.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. But enough about my 9 fingers.
Well, yeah, it's unfortunately you did finally lose that finger after getting those stitches on it. But yeah, so yeah, the episodes you did with Tony were great. I mean,
great.
I had an opportunity to listen to them in England.
Oh, good.
Because there was a day. Okay, so. Out of all we booked hotels, right? And on Expedia.
So first of all, sorry to stop you, but let people know what you did. I don't think that the audience even knows.
Okay, so I had booked my wife and I had booked a trip to watch Iron Maiden, one of the greatest heavy metal bands of all time. We booked the trip to the UK to see them 3 times: Nottingham, Birmingham, and 1 date in London. Now they had 2 dates in London, and we actually got a ticket for that date. So we actually saw Maiden 4 times. and it was a great experience seeing them on their home turf, and it was like one of the best vacations I've had in a long time. It's one of those things where you come back, and you're actually depressed to be back home, which is unusual, because usually I'm really thankful to be back home, but this time I'm just like, boy, I kind of wish we had even more time. So we spent 10 days in the UK and just lived it up, with good food. I mean, good food, not mushy peas all the time. My wife couldn't even bring herself to eat the mushy peas that they brought me, because I was like, hey, you want to try them? She's like, whoa, no. So.
Yeah, they don't look real appetizing. I mean, one of the big stereotypes I hear is that England has bad food, and I guess that's you're telling me that's not the case, or
well, it's I mean, it depends on your taste, I guess. If you like mushy peas and ham
and food that's gray and
no, I mean, we actually ate at a lot of different places. We did have like authentic English food, but we went to Italian restaurants, and it's just like steak. They had steak restaurants. It wasn't like everything was this classic old medieval porridge and slop and mushy peas and beans on toast kind of thing. But so I booked the hotels through Expedia, and Expedia has the amenities of all the hotels, whether they have a fitness room or they have laundry facilities. So all these places, at least 3 out of the 4 of them said laundry. And I was like, great, we can bring clothes. And then once we're getting down to the point where we need to actually do some wash, I keep hitting this microphone. Once it came down to the point, it was like, oh, well, we can just use it because it says they have laundry here. So the first hotel had a laundry facility, and of course we didn't need it because that was our first night there.
You can't pre-wash your clothes.
Right. So the second hotel in Nottingham didn't have any laundry. They specifically didn't have it listed on we're like, fine, it's not really that point where we need to wash clothes in Nottingham. And by the time we get to Birmingham, we're like, okay, well, maybe we can do a load because it says there's a laundry here. Nope, no laundry facilities. So we're like, okay, well, we can't do laundry here. And there's no really like convenient laundromats around. They call them launderettes. They call them launderettes over there.
Okay.
So there's nothing around really within any kind of walking proximity. So I was like, well, the hotel in London, it says laundry. And my wife, she's like, well, this place said it had laundry and there's no laundry. I was like, well, I think this place will have it in London. And we get to London, and I asked them when I was checking in, so do you have a laundry facility here? They, oh, no, we have a laundry service, but it doesn't operate today, tomorrow, and whatever. And I was like, oh, shit. He goes, we're out of, our undies are running low. And so we wound up. So what we did, I went down, we took like a day, like the day that we were supposed to go to see Maiden the first day. That was like the 7th. July 7th. And I went and bought a little bit of laundry detergent from the local convenience store and brought it upstairs, and we used like a little bucket and the sink and the shower, and we washed our clothes in there. And I'm literally in my underwear because I have to go into the shower to hose down stuff and wring things out. I'm like this old washerwoman. I'm like, hey, and just wringing, and it's a lot of physical work, dude.
It is. It is. It'll make your forearms feel like they're on fire.
It did. And I was like, I was out of breath, but the whole time I had so that leads into like having the previous episodes of Bits and Chunks on with Tony that you had. And so I could listen to those. And I actually went back and re-listened to some parts because, you're just busy. And I was like, I heard a part. I was like, oh, I want to listen to that, but I can't do it right now. So I did go back and re-listen. And it was really enjoyable, and you guys had a great conversation. I was really connecting on the point of seeing horror films that back in the day wouldn't phase you at all. And when you're in your youth, you're like, oh yeah, this is we can see faces of death, and we can see all this stuff and traces of death, and it doesn't really hurt us or doesn't give us that traumatic feeling. But after you've lived a while, and you said it in the podcast, like if you've lived through the horror of a person in hospice, and and then you see that in like a movie or something, it really comes back, and it's a trigger for
Yeah.
you. And it's
Yeah.
ever since, my mom passed, and I know your brother recently passed,
Yeah.
what, about
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Oh, he died right before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so we both experienced that, and I don't know, you know, for you, when I see like movies, it doesn't even have to be a horror movie. It could just be a drama on television where, someone's passing away in a bed, and I'm just like, the
Yeah.
trigger hits me, and I can't watch it. I have to turn it off or watch something else.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't really had an experience where I've had to like where a horror movie has done that to me, but I know that there are certain things. It's like the way Tony said it, there's certain things I don't want to put in my head, which was
Yeah.
perfect the way he said it. Like
Yeah, it was.
it was I thought it was really gracious of him to do that, because the guy is I mean, everybody knows Tony. He's one of those dudes that in genre circles, like he's known. He's like he's like he's Tony Salvaggio, and um, he's like such a genuinely sweet guy, and the guy that he is now is the same guy that he's always been. He's always been like this guy that doesn't like hurting people's feelings. He doesn't like saying mean shit about people, and he kind of goes through life, and he goes through he picks his entertainment through the lens of compassion in this way, and that's his interactions with people are just like that. I mean, it's like at one point in time, I thought that he just didn't like to say mean shit about people because he didn't want to screw up some industry contact, but that's not it. It's just, he just genuinely isn't like that.
Right.
He doesn't want, like he just doesn't want to put nasty shit out there in the world.
Right.
But, it was a lot of fun talking to him. He's definitely knowledgeable about that. And I felt like, maybe I could learn something, shit. I feel relatively new to this, even though we've been doing it for a minute,
Yeah. And, but he's sounds like he's an old pro at it with his podcast and everything. But but it was really cool to see you talk to him and actually get, because I seen him on Facebook, I think, and I seen him like talk or comment on your post on social media. But it was really cool to see him in person. You guys interact.
Really that was great.
Yeah. But Jelly Old England was fantastic, like I said, and I did a couple of FaceTime calls with you, probably kind of impromptu times. So
we're gonna post those throughout the like maybe sprinkle those out throughout the week. So that'll be fun.
So Clay actually recorded those FaceTime calls, and and I was actually in the concert, and so we couldn't hear each other that well, but we did have some pretty funny moments.
Well, and comedy erupts as it does. It's totally uncontrived and unstaged in every way. No post production in these videos, folks. So
no, absolutely. This is a like found footage kind of thing, where authentic reactions. So I'm sure you'll have
authentic found footage. But I love seeing your pictures from England. Like what was the experience of seeing Iron Maiden 4 times consecutively? That's very unique. That's very interesting.
Good question. You'd think after like maybe the second time you'd be like, okay, well, it's the same set list. You're not going to hear anything different. They're playing the same thing every night. But for some reason, that's what I thought. Like going into after Nottingham, which was amazing, is a great show, and we got to meet a lot of great people. People were really interested in us because we're Americans. They recognize our accent. They asked us where we're from and what we're doing, and really friendly. And
that's great.
Yeah, and then in Birmingham, you're like, well, okay, we're gonna go see Maiden tonight. It's gonna be the same thing, but you still get in there, and they crank out the first song, Somewhere in Time, Caught Somewhere in Time, and I still feel the butterflies in me, and I'm, and there's songs that I'm singing along to that, I feel like tears kind of welling up in my eyes. It's kind of unusual to love a band as much as I do love Iron Maiden, and seeing them live every time and still have those feelings of when you first saw them when you were young, or when you first heard them on cassette tape or wherever. So Birmingham, it was still great. And by the time we got to London, it's a couple days later. We're both very tired, from traveling and sightseeing, and we're like, okay, well, we got the London show, and then we have Saturday and Sunday where we can just, explore London. And Friday, I was thinking the same thing. Okay, here we go, same set list, and it was the same experience. The butterflies,
it still blew your socks off.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
And then Tina's like, my wife, she's just, hey, let's try to get tickets to the Saturday show, even though it says it's sold out. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh man, that's like Friday and Saturday, 2 days in a row of Iron Maiden. Well, that was how it was in Nottingham, Birmingham, but that was just, again, one of those feelings like, do I have to see him again? Yep. And that's what we did. We went in there and those same feelings. What we did a little bit differently, in London, we upgraded our tickets to have like not really like a private room, but a backstage kind of bar area where you wouldn't have to like be with the crowd, because by this point we're just kind of overwhelmed by the crowds in the arenas. So we got upgraded for like £30 each to go to this little back bar, couches, relax, nice mood lighting. You can hear the crowd outside, but everything's kind of closed off, and you could have your drinks and don't have to wait in line. And
oh, that sounds cool, man.
Yeah, just a little bit of time to relax. But yeah, Maiden is amazing, has always been amazing. I got to hear Bruce Dickinson fuck up the lyrics to Stranger in a Strange Land like 2 times. He messed him up in Nottingham, he messed him up in Birmingham, just got into the wrong part. But he even acknowledged, he's like, I know I fucked that part up. He goes, but we got it anyways, didn't we, boys? Or some
yeah. I mean, it's this good-natured way of saying, what are you going to do? Like, what?
Luckily, the band is solid, so they knew what was going on. They continued on, and then Bruce realized he was fucking up, and he jumped back into the right area. So,
well, seeing bands fuck up is one of the kind of a memorable part of the band going experience. I remember, very different band, but I was so excited, ironically, to see Bongzilla for years and years. I wanted to see Bongzilla.
Yeah.
And they ate shit so bad on this one song. They fucked it up so bad. And if you fuck up, like, if you fuck up a Bongzilla song, I could play a Bongzilla song. It's like, and I mean, they were totally fucking it up to the point to where the lead singer guitarist was turning around to the drummer and made this kind of like, are we ever going to get back into the song kind of thing? Like, and I was, I don't do anything now, but back then I just I brought 2 weed cookies that had like just an intolerable amount of weed in them, and I ate them both, and I was having an out of body experience the whole time. Like, I was just standing there with this psychotic look on my face. Yeah, and I saw them again. Go ahead.
Oh, did they have to restart the song, or did they eventually get back on track?
They just muddled their way through it until it came to kind of an end, and then they tried to play it off like they just didn't eat shit for the last 12 minutes. So. But yeah, that was funny. And then, like, the last time I saw him, I saw the guitarist walking by, and I didn't want to bother him too much. But I was like, "Hey, man, you rule," and he's just kind of like, like he didn't want to talk to me. And I made it. That's kind of a dick move, but I made it my goal to just fuck with him for the rest of the night, because it's a small venue, so you can't get away from people. You're just in there amongst the fans. And I was talking to one of the other guys from the band, and then just like, and this guy, I can tell he was hoping that I wouldn't fuck with him, because he's just over there in his own thing. It's like, yeah, it's like that dude Magma over here, Magma the guitarist for he's like, okay, you could tell like the last thing he wanted was any human interaction. But that was fun.
No, I mean, yeah, when you see bands, especially pro bands, that are signed and actually tour and do this for a living, and they fuck up, you realize, like, okay, the world is fine. People aren't perfect. Bands aren't perfect. I mean, my band Gravehill has fucked up. There's one time we were playing in Denver, and the song we have is called "Open Their Throats." It starts off slow, but not as slow as Rhett started it out. Rhett couldn't hear anything in his monitors. So when I said something happened, and so he starts off with this beat.
It's like a doom song.
It is. It starts off, but it's just a little bit faster than that, and then Nelson and Chris, who were on the guitars, were, still looking around, going, they're playing the riff how it's supposed to be played, but just at this time signature that was just at the doom level. Dun, 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 and it really sounded pretty fucking good, but it wasn't how. And so no one was trying to tell Rhett that he was playing the wrong thing, but instead I just started jumping in with vocals at where I needed to be, just at a slower thing. And I was like, and that we just kept going and going. And we have when it picks, there's a fast part. So right in the middle, it picks back up and doesn't ever go back to that slow part. So I looked at Rhett and I held the microphone. I looked him straight in the eye, and Rhett had no idea what he was doing. I was like, fast. And he's like, all like that. And I went, open, yeah, throats. And then he went, boom, and he was back on it. And we all just fucking started jamming. But no one had any clue what happened. It was so fun.
I mean, did the crowd seem to notice at all? Or
they were headbanging. They were like, dun.
Cool, man. Well, it's kind of a happy mistake in a way.
It was a happy mistake for sure. But we thought, are we going to recover from this? Should we just stop and do this over again? But no.
Well, you did the right thing. You can't. There are no mistakes up there, is what I've heard.
Yeah. What do they call? What do they call people who have kids on happy accidents?
Happy accidents, yeah. What do they call parents?
Kids.
Happy screw ups. Yeah, like I remember I had just told you not long ago that Hellfest is on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And then I was watching YouTube like mini documentary on somebody that went to Hellfest, and I was like, I think I'm gonna make a totally about face and fuck that, man. I mean, it's just it looks too intense for me, man. There's like just a zillion Hessians as far as the eye can see in the mud. Like it looks like the gathering of the Juggalos, but with Hessians. And I'm like,
right.
I mean, it'd probably be cool if you could, I don't know, man. I mean, it's I hate to even like throw out the too old thing, but I might be almost there when it comes to living in the mud, in the baking heat, being sweaty and gross for however it just being and just the assault of just constant metal, loud constantly. I think it'd be overload.
Yeah sonically every day, nothing but metal. And and you're in a crowd with like how many thousands of people, like 50,000 or something. It's incredibly packed. I've seen things too. I've had friends that go there and they're like, oh yeah, you just bring your camping gear. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll bring my camping gear. No. Give me a bed and breakfast. I'll be fine.
I need to sleep like a human. We used to do a bunch of camping when Carrie and I first met, but shit, it's been 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And her family wanted to go camping, not like last summer. It was about a year ago now, and I said no, absolutely not. I'm not. It's too hot. You know what? Yeah. Like you go do it 2 months from now, maybe, but no, I'm not going in August.
No. Yeah, we went camping a couple of years ago. Friends of ours said, hey, we're going camping down in La Jolla, which is like the near San Diego, kind of like midpoint between San Diego and LA. And they're like, hey, if you want to pitch in like $50, we're paying for this little campground, and there's like water tubing and stuff like that by the river. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, we'll do that. And so we bought this cheap little camping setup, and it was like a 3-day thing. It was like Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday night. And so we got there Friday, and it's a campground, and you're out in the middle of nowhere, and there's no cell reception. Good Lord, man!
Like all of a sudden, the shakes start
happening. But we there. Friday, all of Friday, we got there Friday morning, and all of Friday we had. Damn it! I keep doing that. We barbecue, or we grill out and have food, or drink beer. Kind of hang out in the water.
Fun.
Yeah, and just chill. And at night we had the great bonfire. Not really bonfire, but good fire going with a bunch of us friends just sitting around and drinking and talking, and it was really nice. And then the next day, Saturday comes, and slept in their tent and slept fine. And then probably around noon, Tina and I was like, I'm good.
I think we've done it.
I think we've done it. What we needed to do, we came here, hung with friends. I mean, I can't do this the rest of the day. Certainly can't do it for all of Sunday. And she's like, yeah. I was like, let's just go. So we told everyone, hey, we're going to pack up and get out of here. There's actually we were going to go to our friend's birthday party on Saturday. So we kind of used as an excuse to leave. But really, we didn't really, like you said, it's just, we had our fill, and that was it. That was my last camping experience. And like you said, I don't think I have any real desire to, pitch a tent, as they say.
I probably, like, I used to enjoy it. I did. I've been on some wild ones. We went to this, I think they called them boogies, that you had to be invited because they were on private property, but it was a ton of private property. So there'd be all these weirdos. And I say that in the nicest way. And it was this one was actually scheduled around Beltane, like this. It was a pagan celebration, and there were naked people running around constantly. There was this dude dressed as like a pan flute guy. What do you call him? Like the goat dude?
Yeah, Pan, right?
That's Pan, yeah. And he had these big like guar legs on, like he towered above people, and he had this huge wine glass that he was pouring red wine into people's mouths, and it was and there was like all these, like it was all totally kind of just theatrical to me, but there was all these pagan celebrations and stuff, and co-ed bathrooms, and just weird kind of it was weird, man, but it was memorable. And they had
that does
bands
sound
in the
fun.
evening.
That's not a traditional camping. That sounds like a definitely kind of themed and awesome place.
That was a party, and it was one of these type of things where you had to be invited, and if you came and acted up, you'd kind of get the other person that invited you uninvited. So the dude that invited us ended up being a bad guy and went to prison for a while. And then we lost our way in, and that was it. It was so it just became kind of this memory, never to be repeated.
Well, that sounds like a very treasured memory for sure.
It's kind of like Midsummer, but with more nudity and less actual horror,
right? And people not being burned in a bear suit or anything.
Yeah.
But have you watched anything in any movies that you've seen that have piqued your interest?
I was just asking the same question beforehand. We've had to have watched something recently, but it must not have made a big impression on me because I cannot remember. I started Memories, the Origin of Alien, and but I haven't finished yet, so it's hard to give a real solid kind of my take on that one. What else have we watched? Did I talk about Influencer with you yet?
You haven't, but I've seen it come across my own like feeds, but I'm not really sure what it's about or anything.
That one was good. That was one of those movies that was way better than it had any reason to be, if that makes sense. Like it was beautifully shot. The cinematography was good. Just real basic setup is this banal Instagram influencer goes and records every second of her life, and then somebody takes an interest in her, and it kind of goes from there. And there's some twists and turns, but that one was pretty damn good.
I'm just making a note to watch it.
What else did we watch? The other ones I think we've mentioned. Some other ones that I've mentioned, but we didn't get into a real big discussion about them. Caveat and Beach House were pretty good.
Right.
I tried to watch Terrified, or I did watch Terrified actually. Tony really loved that one. I didn't love it as much.
Terrified or Terrifier?
Terrified. Not Terrifier, but Terrified. It's a Spanish speaking movie. I can't remember which country. Which
looks like Spanish.
It might be filmed in Spain.
Wait a minute. It's a highly effective horror film from Argentina. Sorry.
Argentina. Yeah. It was definitely worth watching. I'm not going to say that it was bad, but for me, the middle chunk of the movie drugged to the point to where it just brought the whole thing down for me. And I felt like the ending was really kind of uneventful, but it had such a strong opener, and there was this scene in the middle that was really strong, and all of the the cinematography, sets, and everything looked really nice. It's just the cohesive tissue wasn't there for me. It just didn't gel. So
I may give it a try. I've seen it come across. I've seen that same thing come across my feeds as well. When I got back, I think it was on Tuesday afternoon, maybe yesterday, I was like, I'm just gonna veg out and just watch something. And so I attempted to watch Children of the Corn remake, 2023, and I got about 15-20 minutes into it, and I had to stop it because it was fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, this has to be something that we need to do. So I hope we can put that on the list. That
we can do that. We can do that next time or whenever you want. Like death metal is on the horizon. We're definitely
we'll definitely work on death metal. We can just throw out some of these, but there's a certain scene. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll definitely know when we watch it that it just stopped me. That's where I had to stop. I was like, okay, this is the fucking idiots. we gotta watch this. So
I can't wait.
Yeah. So I stopped that and just kind of did my browse thing. What do I want to watch? What do I watch? You know what? I was like, I hadn't seen the Leatherface prequel, the Texas Chainsaw prequel from 2017. So I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. Boy, that was a piece of shit too. But
I'm not surprised.
Have you not seen it?
I have not seen it. No.
Oh, okay. It's just ridiculous. I don't. They try to turn like a table on you, thinking you think someone's Leatherface, but it's not. But it turns out it's just really dumb how it was conceived. Stephen Dorff's in it, who I like. I think Stephen Dorff's a great actor. He was in The Gate, if you remember, when he was a kid.
Yeah. Which is surreal to see.
Yeah, he was also in Blade, the first Blade.
Yeah, he was.
And then he was in that True Detective season 3 as well, and he did a real good job in that. But
okay. I don't think I've seen season 3. I've seen season 2.
Yeah, season 3 is a lot better than season 2. But so yeah, I watched Leatherface. It was dumb, but in fact, I was like, should I just save this because I thought you had seen it already. So
no, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's nothing. No one will miss it. And then I've been working on, I guess, just for upcoming projects and stuff for Cinematic Suffering. I have been working on the Aliens Dark Descent playthrough.
Nice.
So I've got my first video. It's just Dark Descent is great, but it's got a lot of problems with it. Nothing that's game killing, but just certain little things where it'll just annoy the shit out of you.
Yeah.
One of them is the overly long prologue, which is basically tutorials, the major tutorials, but it lasts along with the story a good 45 minutes. I mean,
painful.
It's very painful, and the people have been begging for the developers to put in something where you can skip the prologue and you jump right into the game, and they say they probably will do it on the next patch or whatever. So I put that entire prologue, or I'm going to put that entire prologue on my JT Corpse channel.
Okay.
And my intro is pretty much telling people this is the prologue. If you want to see the actual walkthrough and gameplay, go to Cinematic Suffering. So the actual walkthrough and everything will be on that. So I've already got the second video almost complete. So
it recorded a whole epised of Alien Isolation and realized that my OBS settings were just unacceptably fucked up. So that had to go straight in the trash. So I have to go back and play my way back to
the good thing about that is that you know certain things are what's going to happen, right?
Well, and it's only a chapter back too.
Okay.
It's not like they set you back all the way. Like it's
Yeah.
not like I have to start the game over. If that was going to happen, then there'd be no more Alien Isolation. But yeah, like, and I'll just cop to it. But I know exactly where I need to get back to. So I'll be playing that freelance so for a second. But it's lesson learned. It's kind of like you gotta make sure that you're recording correctly before you do a bunch of gameplay.
Yeah, I was thinking about you when I was playing Aliens Dark Descent for the first time, when I played it, that you think it's like this action RTS with some different kind of game mechanics in it, but it has this stress system for the soldiers. So if you get in too many gunfights with aliens and you're like fully frontal assaulted, the stress levels for your soldiers or your Marines will keep going up until they start developing all these defects that affect combat and how. So you really want to stealth around as much as you can. And I was like, oh, Clay would fucking hate this. I was just thinking.
Yeah, I probably would. And like I am getting a little bit better at it. I'm going to try to compile like just a death montage, because I did get, what happened is I got like halfway through one episode, but I just was dying an unacceptable amount of times to where it would have been just misery to expect anybody to watch that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut it here and then come back, but that's when I fucked up the second part. So I'm gonna have to do it all over again. But I just, those damn crash test dummy looking working Joe robots, they just kill the shit out of me. I'm getting better at it. I really am. But part of the, hopefully it's entertaining. Part of the entertainment is just watching me suck terribly at a game.
Well, I like the death montages because I did it for Bramble when I finally finished up Bramble. There's several parts where you see me dying, and I think I try to edit a part out where you see me die, and I'm like that. There's some part in there where I knew I was cussing. I was getting infuriated because Bramble, it seems like a simple game until you finally get the rhythm of it, and then but I was getting pissed at this one part. I was like, fuck, God fucking damn it. And I did piece during the middle of the video. I think I did piece some of those reactions together just to see how much I died, but and then it continues on. But yeah. Horrible. Yeah,
that's I haven't watched all of them yet, but there was we were actually putting them on during dinner, your playthrough of Bramble, which was pretty fun. Like, like I came downstairs and to get dinner ready, and Carrie just had it on. It's not even like, I was like, hey, let's watch this. She was just watching it. So that was
for in-depth gameplay footage of a game that's really went totally independent.
The 10 people know exists.
Right. Yeah.
I'm halfway thinking, would Mortal Kombat be too much of a stretch to kind of put under the horror umbrella, because there's gore in it.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to.
I think it's a stretch, to be honest.
Yes, I think so.
But. Yeah. But there's plenty of horror games out there, and you'll eventually finish up Alien Isolation in another 9 months or so. So
I know I'm probably not even 10% done with it. It's
yeah, it is a long game. But it was still a great fun time when I played it. But I like stealth games to a point. This Aliens Dark Descent, in my latest video that I just made, I'm just trying to avoid. You can see all the aliens beep 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 on your motion tracker, and you can see where they are on the map, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go over here. Nope, the alien come back. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go back over here, and then I'm bringing the team. Come on, team, and then another alien comes. I'm like, fuck, like that, and I go. I'm just trying to avoid battle and combat. Eventually, you eventually have to fight, but if you can avoid it, but the stealth aspect is really pissing me off. But when you're playing on when you play on nightmare level, you really can't take any of those chances, because one alien can lead to 2, and then 2 can multiply into 10, and suddenly you're just overwhelmed, and it just gets crazy.
I am looking forward to seeing your gameplay of it, because I watched several reviews of it, and it looks cool. Like I was a crackhead for StarCraft 2. Now I know it's a different game. I know that this one's more like XCOM.
Yeah.
So I understand more or less what you're doing and the mechanics of it. So I was like, I thought about it for a second, like maybe I'll give it a try, and then I was like, no, I'm not. Why, why would I just? As much as I'm struggling with Alien Isolation, I know that this one will kind of destroy me.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I would say give it a chance, because it doesn't really cost that much. But it's a fun game. I'm having a great time. Everyone has a great time with the game. Everyone knows there's some glitches that aren't game breaking at the moment. Some of them were that they've already patched out, but some of the voice lines are really kind of goofy. And they, like, every time you move your Marines, there's this a female line that's woo woo, and it sounds she's just saying move, but she's actually saying move. And or there's
like they clipped it or something.
Yeah, like they might have clipped it, or she's just not speaking it clearly. There's a other little line, the term open sesame.
Yeah.
So every time they open up a door, like unweld a door, they say open up sesame. And it's just, I don't know why that just gnaws at me every time it happens. But I'm like,
why does that bother me?
Why does that bother me? It's not right. It's open sesame, not open up sesame.
It's open sesame, dumbass. You know what this is.
Just a little line, and then like the closed caption doesn't match the voice lines all the time.
Yeah,
actually, it's pretty common. So you'll notice that it's like, hey, that's not what they said.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that we've kind of gotten spoiled as gamers, because there's these AAA games that are just, I'm still like, I haven't finished it, but I can't believe that games like God of War Ragnarok exists. I can't believe that they made that. Like that thing is, the team had to just be amazing. So, and then I'll hear like gamers online complain about some of the most inconsequential stuff when it comes to gaming. So I think people have gotten a little bit spoiled, and they've forgotten that not all game studios are huge. Not all games are going to be masterpieces. And sometimes little bugs here and there kind of are part of the patchwork of the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just remember the classic, all your base are belong to us,
Yeah.
That line. It's like,
yes.
That came from a classic time of video games where they couldn't correct it.
Yeah, it was just, that's all there is. Like, we'll give you the sequel in a couple years.
But well, I guess we can wrap it up. This is kind of a longer episode. Clay and I needed to catch up, even though we had the FaceTime calls, which were really nice. But
yeah, which you guys will enjoy those throughout the week as I learn InShot.
We don't know what that is. What is that? Is it like
InShot is editing software that you can use right on your phone. I'm using it on my iPad. It's pretty amazing that you can the stuff that you can do right on your phone. So I don't know why I'm helping advertise for InShot, since I paid for the friggin' software, but it's pretty neat. I got it so that we could do some neater clips with like shorts and stuff. So I'll be showing that off soon.
Oh, that'll be rocking and rolling. Do we want to like we're working on the death metal. No, we're working on death metal. But do you want to do like maybe like a Children of the Corn run?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because I want to do justice to death metal. Just to let y'all know, we're doing like the full riff tracks MST3K inspired treatment of death metal, where we actually write the jokes out. We've only done that with one other movie so far, and Jason and I both had a great time doing it. We did it with Devil's Island, and we're doing the same thing with death metal, where we're watching the movie multiple times and writing jokes timed perfectly to the movie, so that you can watch along and enjoy our commentary. And hopefully we have some even more surprises down the line when it comes to the death metal movie. That might be a kind of a big one for us.
So if anyone's curious, the death metal is a horror movie. It just came out this year. I kind of sort of know the director. I believe he recorded Grave Hill for his company up in San Francisco years ago. But death metal is basically it's like so it almost feels like a Trick or Treat from the 80s,
Yeah, it's kind of like if Evil Dead and Trick or Treat had a baby that didn't get any of the money from either of those franchises.
So I haven't watched it yet, but I am going to start delving into there very soon, probably this weekend. And but how about we'll plan on some Children of the Corn 2023 remake.
Cool.
And we'll see how that goes. That's
I'm about it.
I'm about it too. Yeah, 20 minutes. I think that's about the mark. Yeah. So
okay. All right. Excellent.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Bits and Chunks. More game footage and everything is continuing to come out. So we have stuff coming out every week pretty much. So keep tuning in, keep telling your friends, keep liking, commenting. I've seen some of the comments already come through. We seem to have comments from some of our from people that are in the movies that we watch, which is actually kind of fun, but somewhat a little cringy because I feel that they feel a little offended that we ragged on them a little bit.
You guys are mean, and it's funny because they're finding our commentary. The last one that happened, that was back when the podcast was audio only. I was like, I forgot we even watched that movie.
But yeah, the main actor from that movie commented on a our Cinematic Suffering post on Instagram, which you guys should actually go and look up and follow.
Definitely. Yeah. Like Jason said, like, subscribe, and definitely share. Let's help get this thing moving.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, I guess we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out. Later. Bye.